Lori here. I'm here today to do my summer entertainment, what I've been loving wrap up. The summer was a little bit weird. I will say the first half of the summer, I was very, very much focused on the Olympics and gymnastics. So that's really what I did for like the end of July, the beginning of August, because it was very, very prevalent, especially what happened to the women's, all the stuff that happened with the women's Olympic team. So I was a little bit focused on that, but I did also watch a couple of other things. So let's get into it. The TV shows I watched, the first two do connect back to gymnastics, but that is I watched the Golden series on Peacock, and it followed 5 gymnasts that were hoping to make the Olympic team. You follow Lori Hernandez, Suni Lee, Morgan Hurd, Connor McLean, and Michaela Skinner. So you follow 5 gymnasts, and actually 2 of them wound up making the Olympic team. So you just found out watching. It was really interesting. I really liked that documentary. I think it was probably the best documentary that NBC has ever really put together. It really was an interesting take, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then also kind of going along with that, I also did watch Simone versus Herself, which was the Simone Biles documentary leading up to the Tokyo Olympics. Again, really interesting. Really liked it. I would love to get more of that series following the Tokyo Games because, again, I love Simone Biles. She's my favorite, and I'll talk about her in a little bit because she was the hero of the games for me. I really, really loved. I just love her. She's great. So those were like the 2 gymnastics things that I watched, and I'll talk about gymnastics at the end because it's going to be a big part of this games, or a big part of my entertainment for the summer. I also watched Loki. I will be honest, I didn't like Loki as much as like WandaVision, but I did enjoy it. I am intrigued enough to see where it's going to go. I thought it was super fun. I'm loving what the Marvel verse is doing with all of those movies and TV shows because I think they're really just expanding the universe, and I really liked it. The highlight show on Disney Plus for me was The Mighty Ducks, which I also really, really enjoyed. It's a spin-off or a sequel to the Mighty Ducks series, the movies that I watched as a kid, and you follow this young boy, and his mom is played by Lauren Graham, and he basically gets kicked off the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks changed a lot in the past 10 years, and they wound up getting coached by Gordon Bombay, and it was adorable. I loved it. I thought it was such a fun show. All the episodes are out. It did get renewed for a second season, I think, so I'm really excited to dive into that when it comes back, but super fun. Also, another show that I've been watching on Disney Plus that's not over yet is Turner and Hooch, and I really am liking that one as well. I think it's super fun. Basically follows this guy, and he's like a cop, and he winds up getting partnered with his dad's dog after his dad passed away, and they have to learn to work together, and it's a delight. It makes me laugh every single Wednesday. Super fun. It's not over yet, so you could definitely check that one out as well. And then another show I just finished last night on Disney Plus was also Monsters at Work. And that is just the sequel series to Monsters, Inc. after they switch over from scare power to laugh power. And it's just really, really fun as well. I'm a theater teacher, and they have little comedy sections at the end of every one, like a mini episode. And I'm contemplating maybe showing that to my kids in the future because I just think that they would get a kick out of it. And they probably would actually really like it. So that might be, if we ever do with that that improv unit that I've been debating, they might get to watch those little clips. We will see. And then let me see if I've missed anything else. Oh, and then another series that I started on Netflix is called The Bureau of Magical Things. This is like an Australian TV show, and I picked it up sort of on a whim. But it's super fun. It reminds me a little bit of like the Mortal Instruments series, but you basically have this society where there is like elves and there's fairies, yada, yada, yada. A lot of magical creatures. But then there's this girl named Kara. I think her name's Kara. Maybe it's not Kara. There's this young girl, and she winds up encountering a fairy and an elf, and they wind up touching her. And then their powers go into this human girl, and you have to sort of follow them on the adventure. It was a very, very interesting series. Hopefully, I heard rumors that we're going to get a season 2. It is from Australia, so it might be a little bit delayed, but again, very, very fun series, one that I really wound up enjoying, and I'm excited for season 2 whenever we get it. And I think that that's all of the TV shows that I finished, at least that I like could binge watch, or like I finished in a more like appropriate time frame. And then I did watch 2 movies like through Netflix. I am a really, really bad movie watcher. I'll be very, very honest. I'm trying to get better at it. I hope now that I'm crafting again that I can like, and I'll talk about that at the very, very end. I can like watch a few more movies, but it just hasn't happened this summer. I watched Athlete A, which is again about the Larry Nassar scandal, and it followed Maggie Nichols, because she was Athlete A in that investigation, and that was a gut wrenching documentary. I really put off watching it. I didn't want to watch it, but I really, after I watched Golden and everything else, I just wanted to see more on the inside, and it was like a very, very gut wrenching one. But I just admire all the women involved in that and how they took back their own power, because it was pretty incredible. But that was a very, very hard one. And then I also watched the movie Wish Dragon, which was just a lighter one on Netflix, and it was about these 2 characters. Their paths wind up crossing. They were friends when they were younger, and then she became like a Japanese pop star, a Japanese movie star, and their paths wind up crossing. It was super cute. I really, really liked it. So I will definitely try to watch a few more Netflix movies in the future, but it's never my priority, unfortunately. Also, during this time frame, I did wind up actually going back to the movies. So I watched Quiet Place 2 with my friends, Jen and Sarah. We watched that, and it's actually so funny because before the pandemic, the last movie I ever saw was Harley Quinn's movie, and I did not like that movie, but it was really, really funny that the first movie back was with those 2 girls, and I really liked that one. I liked the first one. I think the second one was really, really fun as well. And then me and my dad went to go see Black Widow. We really liked that. We saw that, I think, in July. That was the first time we had gone back to the movies, and we're actually going to the movies next weekend, which I will definitely share with you guys in my September and October wrap-up. But yeah, those were the 2 movies that I saw, like, in person. I don't think I watched anything else that I can remember movie-wise. I have my eyes on Cruella, and I have my eyes on Jungle Cruise. I just think I'm probably going to wait until, like, I don't have to pay for them. And then I think that okay, so those are all like the TV shows I watch. I'm gonna do like the end of my stuff later, but the next thing I want to talk about is gymnastics. I am a massive gymnastics fan. I have followed gymnastics pretty religiously, I would say, since 2012. I follow it. That's like the only sport that I have any knowledge about. Anything at all that I know about is about gymnastics. I don't know anything about any other sports. So I am a big Simone Biles fan. I will say that right off the bat. I love Simone Biles. I think she's incredible. I've met her once or twice. She's really, really awesome. What happened in Tokyo, I think, was devastating, but also I think it opened up a really important conversation about mental health and how mental health is not just mental. Like, what I know, like, everyone has talked about it, but I never really got to say my own opinion. What people don't realize is, like, when you look at the sports in the Olympics, gymnastics is probably one of the most dangerous sports there is. So to have your brain and your body not connecting is incredibly dangerous. So what she did, stepping down and not competing in the team finals and not even competing in the individual games, anything else, was because she thought she might get hurt. I was happy. I would have been happy if she just went up there and did nothing, but she also came back and won a bronze medal on the balance beam. She repeated. She got the same medal that she did in 2016, and I just love Simone Biles. I was happy that she got to end the game on her terms, but also there were so many other things that happened. Suni Lee became all-around champion, which I was so happy for her, and the attention she was able to give the Hmong community. Also, Jade Carey got the floor medal, and Michaela Skinner got a bronze on vault. And I was so proud of those girls. They went out and they didn't lose a gold medal. They won a silver medal. And I think as Americans and as anyone watching the games, we have a very big thing is that saying, oh, the only medal that matters is gold. No other medal matters. If you get a silver medal, doesn't matter. If you get a bronze medal, doesn't matter. I am so sick of that narrative. They went out there and they won a silver medal, and they should be so proud of themselves, and we should be so proud of them. And it just made me so angry. It made me angry the hate she was getting about the choice that she had to make. but it also made me so proud to see what everyone else, just all the love that went to her. I'm actually going to see them in November, hopefully, if Delta does not mess with my plans too dramatically. But I just wanted to say that because, you know, as someone that has followed gymnastics pretty religiously, I love it. Also, on the men's side, I was also really happy that the men did not have their best Olympics by far, but they did go out and they finished strong. And Sam Mikulak was able to end his career pretty well. He had a pretty good Olympics, and I was happy that everyone got out of it safe and sound, because these games were definitely different than anything we could have ever predicted, and I was just happy that they got to end the game on their terms. About gymnastics, it was wild because Japan is so far ahead of us. So I was waking up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch these things. So it was like, I felt like I was so invested in them because I was literally watching it in real time and then watching it again on the NBC broadcast. But I also like watched a little bit more. I watched swimming pretty religiously. I was watching a lot of the swimming heats because they were on the first half of the games. And I really grew to learn that I really, really like swimming. I don't really like to swim personally, but I just thought it was interesting watching them, and I grew to really like all the swimmers. So that was another thing that I wound up doing, like just watching more of the Olympics than I think I've ever really watched before, and that was super fun. And then towards the end, the last like 2 to 3 weeks, I did actually have a city adventure. I actually got to meet up with a couple of my friends a bit, but I got to do a city weekend with my friend Tiffany, and we wound up having a big shopping trip, and we did like a bookish weekend, which was really, really fun. I also did wind up finally got to go to the Harry Potter store. I don't know when I went to the Harry Potter store. I don't know if I talked about that in my last thing, but there was a Harry Potter store that opened in New York City, and I've gone 3 different times with 3 different groups of friends, which was actually really, really fun. So that was actually really exciting. I still want to go back once more and do like the VR rides, but I have to wait because COVID times, there's a small amount of tickets available. But those are like the really big like activities that I did. I also just like selfishly, I got to finally meet my niece, who is over a year old. She was born in the middle of the pandemic, so I got to meet her, which was really, really exciting as well. So just some like little things. I didn't really go on any vacations. The only trip I really went on was the city adventure. But I have some stuff planned in the second half of the year, which I'm really excited about. And hopefully Delta doesn't wreck my plans, which we will see. Hopefully not. But then my goal for the tail end of this month was to catch up on all my TV shows that I have neglected. So I finished Legacies. Really intrigued to see where season 3 is going to go. I really like season 2. I didn't expect where it went, but I really enjoyed it, and I really like all those characters. Also, Nancy Drew, again, I really like that show quite a bit. It's a very, very eerie, creepy show. And I binge watched it in like a weekend, and I, again, really, really like that show as well. I also finished watching The Flash, which again, I really liked. I was really, really upset because one of my favorite characters decided to leave the show. You'll see that in a couple of other ones as well, unfortunately. But I was happy where the show like wound up, and I'm excited to see where the next season goes for that. And then let me see if I have any other ones. Oh, and then Walker, Texas Ranger. I love the cast of that show quite a bit. It stars Jared Padalecki, Keegan Allen, Lindsay Morgan, and it's basically like a new version of Walker, Texas Ranger. Sorry, my dad's phone keeps going off. He refuses to answer it. But I really, really like that show, and I just found it to be very, very interesting. It's sort of like Good Trouble that I'll talk about in my next video, because I'll talk about that in my September and October wrap up. It sort of like deals with more modern day topics, and I just love Jared Padalecki and Keegan Allen. They're like some of my favorite actors. It's been a bit since I've seen them in anything, and I just really grew to like all of the side characters in that story as well. So that was one that I really liked and was happy that I was finally able to complete and watch that. I also finished watching Superman and Lois. Again, another show that just was really, really fun to watch. I was so happy that we actually got a Superman and Lois show, and it was definitely like an interesting take. Like, it was a different take, a different type of story. We haven't really called me, so my dad would answer his phone. But normally when we started off with a lot of the DC TV shows, they were all very, very formulaic. They had a very, very similar, like, thing. They were older, mid-20s, and that was sort of where the story went. And there was like a team, very, very very similar. Like Arrow and Flash, Legends, all very, very similar shows. As the shows have sort of gone on, they've kind of changed dramatically. Now we have Stargirl, and then we have this show. This show has them as parents, and they're dealing with that dynamic. And then Stargirl is a girl in high school. So every show is sort of like a little bit different. And I'm liking as we're getting like more shows. So I really like that one as well, and can't wait to see where season 2 goes. Hopefully we get a season 2. And then This Is Us I finished watching. I really like This Is Us, probably one of my favorite shows. It's going into its 6th and final season. Then they threw us for a very, very massive loop at the end of that and revealed something about a future season, which I am really not sure I'm emotionally okay with or prepared for, but we will get there in the next couple of months when it comes back. But I really did like that show as well. Did not really expect the ending, did not try to like the ending, but we will touch base on that when the show's over and see how I feel about it. And then I also finished watching Good Doctor. That was a very, very emotional last couple of episodes. There was also a character that wound up departing from that show, which again, was not a big fan of because I really like her as a character on the show. But I still really do like that show. Great representation for autism. I know technically the lead actor isn't autistic, but I thought that they do a very good job doing a solid autistic representation in that show. And the last show that I finished watching was Call Your Mother, which is just a comedy show following Kira Sedgwick on ABC. And again, that was super fun as well. The only other really thing I've done this summer is I've tried to be much better at crafting. And I was able to complete or catch up to through 2 different scrapbooks, and I kind of worked on them both, and then I worked on my travel theme scrapbook, which is always probably like on the back burner. But my goal is, before I head back to school, is to make some more progress on my niece's book so that I can move over to a different type of crafting for the holidays, because I do Christmas craft a lot, and that's going to be my next mini project that I'm going to sort of do, and you guys will all talk about that in my September and October what I've been loving in fandom recap. So let me know in the comments what are some TV shows, movies, or what have you been loving over the summer, and I'll talk to you guys soon for my next video. Bye, friends.